This is the story of Butterworth. Years ago, I used to do these Brooklyn impressions in my act. Here's my impression of a, Brooklyn eye doctor. What the fuck you looking at? Brooklyn psychologist. You got a fucking problem? Brooklyn intellectual. Let me tell you something, all right? You don't know dick about fuck, all right? A little bit hacky. But that's what Brooklyn was, That's what Brooklyn was. It was applicable. It's not like that anymore. A couple months ago, I heard these guys talking. One guy's like, oh my God, Brooklyn has just, it's like everything's been said, done. It's just been said, done. It's like there's no surprises. And the other guy's like, shut up. That's exactly what I was thinking. No surprises. And it just clicked this memory that I had of Butterworth. So I'd been selling real estate in Brooklyn for 5 years, and I was burnt out. I was done. And I had two last deals that I wanted to close. It was like one of those heist movies with James Caan where you just, you got to do the last deal before you get out. And these deals were impossible. They've been raging on for months. I've been keeping them alive barely. One was there was a German finance guy who was buying a co-op from a Japanese tuna fisherman. And the tuna fisherman's apartment had been on the market forever, was unsellable because he had decked it out to look like a tuna boat when you walk inside. He'd spent a lot of money and he wanted to recoup this money. I mean, there's a wooden hole in there. There's fucking Captain Ahab harpoons in there. There's a steering wheel in the bathroom and portholes for the windows, and then even the anchor. He's got a little anchor door knocker on this thing. And the German guy wanted it for the location, I guess. But and their styles were just so, they just butted heads all, because the German guy was very precise. Everything had to be very precise. Was ist los? Was ist los? Very precise. And the light switch doesn't work properly. And you have to, have to fix this. And the calculation. And the Japanese guy, it was hard to believe that these countries were allies in World War II. The Japanese guy, style of negotiation was just, the samurai, and everything was dishonorable. And I couldn't even. That guy didn't even live in New York. He's on the fucking tuna boat all the time. So I gotta tell him about the German guy's demands. At 3 a.m, I gotta call him. And it was just, it was awful. It was awful. Always at the precipice of failure. And then there was a lady selling a building to a Chinese investor guy who wanted to buy it for his family. Very nice guy. And it would have been an okay deal, except the lady's son lived in the building. He had turned it basically into this giant man cave. And he did not want to leave the building, so he would try and sabotage the deal. So we're in contract. I'm bringing over this Chinese businessman. He's got his, 1 week he's got his architect, next week the contractor. Then family comes from Shanghai to look at it, make sure the feng shui is okay, and the ancestors aren't going to lose face and all this stuff. We get to the building. The guy answers the door. He's in his dirty Fruit of the Looms. There's a ball hanging out. The whole place just reeks like weed. It's like you walked into Bob Marley's lung. The wall. He's got paintings on the wall every week, but they're not hung. They're painted. He would get baked and paint this like surreal scenes of this purple octopus playing the keyboard with its tentacles, and then doing bong hits with the other tentacle, and then it's feeding a pigeon underwater crumbs, and there's a squirrel, and there's a rat on base. It's just like, it was just bizarre. And these guys are obviously button heads. This thing's circling the bowl. So I'm trying to keep these things alive. I get a call from a friend of mine. A friend of mine calls me, comedian. Says, look, I have two very good friends of mine moving to town. Never been in New York. They need a rental. Can you hook them up with a rental? I'm like, listen, man, I got 1 foot out of the door with this stuff. I do sales. I don't do even rentals. I'm ready to be out of here. And he's like, listen, I need you to do me a solid. They're really good people, man. Can you just, like, okay, all right. And I go, what's the lady's name? And he says, Butterworth, right? And I said, Butterworth? And the connection starts breaking up. And I'm like, what kind of name? He said something about entertainment. And I'm like, whatever, Butterworth, you know. Sting, Butterworth. What are you going to do? So I go to meet them next day. I don't know what to expect. You know, I'm picturing some kind of like Merchant Ivory movie about pancake syrup. You know, it was a fortnight since I had longed for her sweetness. And it's not at all. They're very nice people. The lady looks nothing like she looks like a supermodel, you know, just totally done. Everything's all done up and very quiet and shy, like a super shy supermodel. And her husband's like kind of a schlubby, like you wouldn't expect these two to be together. He's got his Crocs on and his fanny pack and whatever, and they get in the car and we're driving around. And I'm looking for the first place I'm going to take them. And she quietly, he's talking a lot, and she quietly says, she's got a very quiet voice, you know, did he tell you at all about me? And I said, no. And she goes, well, yeah, I said something about entertainment, and she goes, well, I have a cock. And I almost crashed the car into the median. It was so unexpected, you know, and I'm trying to keep the conversation going. And so I'm like, well, you know, you're going to fit into Brooklyn great because everybody's packing something different, you know. And then she starts telling me she does porn, you know, and the husband films it. And they're looking for a place they can live in and film the scenes in as well. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's good. And they start telling me about the specific type of porn that she does, where and the main thrust of it, pardon the pun, is that the branding is that she always gives it and never takes it. Never takes it. And that's a whole thing. And all her fans they know that, and they all are online constantly talking about when is she gonna, one day, if only she would take it, if only, they're waiting for this like dick apocalypse that's never gonna happen. Because she's like, it's never gonna happen. She's like, it's not my thing. It's not what I do. I give it. I don't take it. Right? So I'm like, got it. So we're talking about porn. We go to meet this first landlord, some Hasidic guy in Williamsburg. You know, she's been talking about porn and kind of not stopping. And he's like, you know, somebody you do, you're so beautiful, such a beautiful woman. I mean, Yidel McDeedle with the title is so beautiful. And she's like, well, I do. And I'm like, publicity. I'm like, ixnay, pornay to the Moshe. So, you know, we're driving around looking at different places. And I'm showing them, I'm making them laugh. We're getting along great. They're very nice people. But, you know, I'm like, look at this. You could do a shower scene with the water cascading down on the Butterworth. And then, oh, here's the kitchen. You could do, hey, what's for breakfast? Sausage again? You know, and we're all laughing. We're having a great time. Looking around. And the guy's telling me I could, the third day, he's like, you know, you have a good look for porn. I'm like, bro, I'm old. He's like, no, daddy porn. It's like a niche. You could make a lot of money. You don't have to show apartments anymore. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I get my laughs on stage. That's the last thing I want to do is be naked on set and be getting laughs. That'll ruin me. But it gives me a little, you know, I get a little attitude after he said that. You know, I get home, you know, my wife's like, take out the trash. I'm like, take out the trash, daddy, you know. And we finally found an apartment that they like. And but then they call me and they're like, well, there's one other place we'd like to look at tomorrow, Friday. Like, okay, we'll go check it out. It's in Ridgewood, so, you know, they found it themselves. 3-bedroom for the price of a 2. I get it. We get there, the block is a little sketchy, you know. There's a old Puerto Rican guy sitting in front with the tank top, playing dominoes. He's got the pit bull, the music, the giant Puerto Rican flag, the music, like ding, 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 playing. And he's the landlord. So I go up to him like, hey, Poppy, you know, I called you before. We here to see the apartment. He's like, mira, he has that, the drive, you know, mira, he's like, there's no problem. You can just go up to the 3rd floor. I'm like, Poppy, I don't want to just go up there because it's occupied. Can you just, you know, go knock on the door, introduce us? No, mira, that's no problem. Just you go up there. And I'm like, Poppy, look, I hate to take you away from the dominoes, but it just would be, you know, there has to be some kind of introduction. Could you just please take us up? And he's like, mira, Dasi, what happened? No, pero, okay. So he's a little reluctant, and it's more than a little, and it's just kind of weird. So the husband waits in the car, and I go up with Butterworth. Butterworth is behind me. This is me. There's Poppy. We get to the top of the stairs. Poppy knocks on the door. Young Puerto Rican guy answers the door, and this guy just flicks off. He's like, yo, B, I told you, son. I told you don't come up in my spot. Right? Poppy's like, he's like, mira, this is no you spot. This is my building. This is my building. I'm going to make it big on you and all of those other mira. So they start arguing. It's getting heated, and it's just very awkward. And then the young guy pulls out a hammer. So Poppy, not to be outdone, I don't know where he whips out a screwdriver, right? So, I mean, this thing is turning into West Side Story in a hardware store, you know. And I'm trying to, you know, it's just, you know, it's getting crazy. And all of a sudden, I hear this voice go, "Put the tools down. Put the fucking tools down." It's like this Hulk Hogan voice. I'm like, where? Who? What? I look back. It's Butterworth. And Butterworth has got her hand in her purse. You know, like she's got something. You know, she's just looking at him. "Put the tools down." Dude took the hammer, put the hammer right down. Poppy took the screwdriver, put the screwdriver right down. Took Butterworth in, took a look at the apartment, left. And if you think that there are no surprises left in Brooklyn, then you don't know dick about fuck.